Tight 5 and stand-up performances. Hello everyone and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so and you'll not miss another episode. Just a couple of months back, my wife and I were getting ready, excited for the evening. After a very long time due to the pandemic and everything being closed, we were going to attend a live stand-up comedy show in India. The popularity of stand-up comedy in India is a recent phenomenon. I was reading about the history of Indian stand-up, and it's true that earlier the comedy was mainly on the big screen, the Bollywood movies and all other Indian language movies as well. We have had famous comedians over the years, and they were an integral part of the film and the storyline. But things turned in 2010, just over a decade ago, and stand-up comedy began to be professionalized in earnest. And it's come a long way. For major comedy shows on television to have stand-up sold-out shows across the country, it's grown in popularity and the stand-up artists have a fan following of their own. It's tough, making people laugh, and is one of the most challenging but also very rewarding tasks. And kudos to those who do it so well. So, what is stand-up comedy? It's defined as a comedic performance to a live audience in which the performer addresses the audience directly from the stage. The performer is known as a stand-up or also a comedian or comic. Of course, with all the virtual world coming in and the metaverse, did you know that there are VR, virtual reality stand-up comedy shows too now? Became more common during the pandemic. And let's see where these go as the world becomes more and more used to VR technology. Apparently, the audience and the stand-up take on avatars in this virtual world, and the show takes place with people signing in from all over the world. The comedian walks into a virtual performance space with the audience in it too. It does take some getting used to though, as the experience is so different from the actual one, but who knows, the way it's going, we are all getting into virtual reality in all aspects of life more and more. When one tries to understand the history of stand-up, it seems that it started somewhere in the 19th and 20th centuries. The first documented use of stand-up as a term is from 1911, when a woman named Nellie Potter delivered stand-up comic ditties in a chic and charming way. There are many genres in and many styles too, and each come with their own format, rules, and target audience. Some of these are alternative, character, insulting or roasting, musical, observational, satire, surreal. A lot of work goes into each performance and the stand-up designs his or her routine, crafting together small jokes and bits and pieces that tie these jokes together. The final routine emerges from these different bits being arranged towards the build-up of an interlinked overarching theme that slowly builds crescendo towards the grand finale. The final joke that is intended to gain the biggest reaction. Let's hold on to that thought for a moment, we will return to it. But here's something interesting. The jester's privilege. This is the ability and right to discuss and mock anything freely without being punished. This privilege is given in order to gain the ability to falsely frame their stories as true or to free themselves of responsibility for breaking social conventions. In fact, in olden times, the court jester had symbols denoting their status and protection under the law. For example, they had a special crown, a cap and bells, and a scepter that mirrored the royal crown and scepter wielded by a monarch. Over the years, the court jester grew in importance and the role was a highly coveted one. In fact, as history goes, many times it was the jester that was able to deliver difficult news to the monarch. Shows just how close a jester was to the ruler. Let me share another interesting aspect of stand-up. It's called the Tight 5. This is a 5-minute routine that is well rehearsed and consists of a comedian's best material that always reliably gets laughs. This is often used for auditions and a stepping stone towards getting a paid spot and joining a performance or a club. Come to think of it, the audience is critical to stand-up performances. They are both co-constructors of the situation and co-responsible for it. It's well known that one of the appeals for stand-up shows from the audience perspective is the appreciation of the skill of the comedian's performance. It's generally quite daunting for people to stand up on stage and speak to a live audience, so seeing the comedian do this well automatically connects the performer and starts building a rapport with the audience. Research conducted by multiple institutions over the years has consistently found that fear of speaking in public is more common than fear of dying. The entire experience of stand-up is very linked to the audience. Our encounter with stand-up comedy has many memories in different places across various cities. One of the fun ones was in Johannesburg, South Africa, at a place known as Monte Casino. Still remember our first time there. When we entered, we were transported into Italy. Yes, the interiors are stunning and made to resemble the Italian countryside. It was super authentic with cobbled roads, houses on both sides, balconies that remind you of Italy, and even an artificial sky. You kind of entered a dome-like area that was completely enclosed. Reminded me of one of the all-time favorite movies, The Truman Show. More on The Truman Show in another podcast. It's an amazing movie, and if you haven't watched it, do so now. Monte Casino has a stand-up comedy club, and we spent many fun evenings there. Used to go with friends, get our table, our drinks, some food to eat, and then just sit back and enjoy the performances. A lot of the jokes were centered around the politics and life in South Africa, and in our initial years, I must admit, we didn't always get the joke. But as we became more and more familiar with the country and life there, these stand-ups were super fun. We have watched performances in India too and in the US, and in fact now you can watch shows online or on any TV channels. Must say, they are real mood lifters. Let's get back to the earlier thought on how the comedian deliberately designs the show, interlinking the different jokes and then building towards a momentum and a grand finale of sorts. And the tight five, which is an opportunity to show your best, plus the aspect of the audience being so integral to the entire experience, as well as the quality of the overall performance. As I think more on this, I can't help but see the synergy with the journey of our lives. Much like the performer who puts so much thought into each joke and designs the show to be a success, I feel it's so important for us to each be deliberate in how we weave together events and experiences in our lives to lead up to our grand finale. How we want to make sure our lives build up to a crescendo and takes us soaring high to the finish line. And the audience? Well, we have too many of them. So many people who are integral to our life experience, who co-create and co-facilitate throughout our lives and help us bring meaning and quality to our journey. So just as the stand-up performer who crafts the performance, we too need to focus on crafting our lives and building the right audience. Yes, the right audience. The one who will resonate and encourage the performer is crucial to the success of the show, and spoilers or nuisance creators are removed from any performance, right? Well, similarly, we need to be conscious of people in our lives, those that are helping us and facilitating us towards the grand finale versus those that are spoilers and bringing the performance down. And the tight five? Well, each of us must think about our own tight five. How do we bring out our best if given just 5 minutes to interact or convince someone of an idea? A pitch could be in your professional life or in your personal. Putting your best foot forward in a tight five way could be a game changer. There are other things to learn from stand-ups. They reinforce the idea that it's okay to be contradictory. Not everyone has the same opinion, and that's fine. It's okay to laugh at yourself at what's happening in your life and feel good about it. For me, that's one of the most important takeaways. One doesn't need to pretend that everything is fine and perfect. Life is a struggle, and we acknowledge it. Find humor in the situation and fall forward. I mean, when things get difficult, as a family, we say, well, if it was that easy, it would have been done long back. Like currently, we are in a bit of a flux situation. All of us in different places, lots of little things to get done, and we have relocation issues to tackle, new information to sort out. There's just quite a lot happening. But we need to take some deep breaths, learn from stand up stuff, build all these little experiences and challenges into the crescendo towards success. And while we are at it, keep the humor alive, laugh about it. Fellow Mavericks, choose the audience well and do it mindfully. Go with your gut and be true, and you'll always never go wrong. The key components of the Maverick formula are in play here. Goes the same with quote unquote jokes one uses for stellar performances. Same way, we choose the right experiences in our lives. And just as we forget everything and get immersed in a stand up performance and show our emotions, let's remember to keep ourselves open to genuinely experiencing everything that's going around us. Do it in full, no halfway measures. Well, what are you waiting for? If you haven't watched a stand up show recently, go ahead and do so now, in person or online. Will lift your mood for sure. Do keep writing your comments and sharing your feedback at theordinarymaverick@gmail.com and follow me on Instagram, #theordinarymaverick. I love hearing from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day and a super amazing year. Keep well, stay safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers and reviewers Ajay, Sanjana, Avantika and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.